This is how I'm editing a feature film. The process is really simple. You kind of just nest things, and if you don't know what a nesting is, you can just grab any footage right here. You can select it all, go down, find the nest, and then rename it. Always rename it, because if it's just, it's not gonna be the scene. But if this is scene 105, I put scene 105 and click OK. And now you have a nested sequence, which if you go into it, you can just edit it kind of as its own project. Now there's a couple bad things about this, some good things about this. The bad part about doing nested sequences, first of all, is it kind of feels like you're doing multiple projects, but it's still all in one, so you still need a really heavy computer, like 40 minutes, look how many cuts there are. You still need like a very powerful computer. You could put your render quality lower, like 1/8, 1/4, and it's right here, but overall you still need a really powerful computer. And what I've done for other projects is that I've separated each scene in different files, or I've separated multiple scenes in different Premiere files. I have my film projects, and I did Rend, which you can see I put the name and the title, and then scene 6 through 1, scene 6 and 1, 13, final concentration, final, 1, 1.5, 9 to 7, 11 to 10, 13. You can see I have multiple files. Well, in this one, and this is like 26 minutes, so it's not even as long as this, but I was using my personal computer, which isn't as powerful. Overall, it usually starts with you get all the footage ready. You have all the scenes you need to do. You can go into import and import the footage. You can also use the media browser right here. You can go and find scene 112, camera C, look at all the things you have in camera C. But sometimes it's less efficient, sometimes it's not as good. My preferred method is I just pull up File Explorer or Finder in Mac, and you just go into the scene, find the footage you want. You can find all the footage here, and you can just drag it in. I think it's the easiest for me, but any of the three methods work. When you have the footage in, I'd probably sync it up and put it in one file. So let's go into a more complicated one, like this one. This is a pretty complicated scene. For this, we have multiple layers. We have 3 cameras rolling. So we have camera A, camera B, camera C. We don't label them. Sometimes you do. You could come here and label lavender, and you could label different things, but we just don't label it. I just keep it all on the same track, so we know it's all there. This is all camera B, this is all camera A. First layer is camera A, second layer is camera B, third layer is camera C. The first thing I do when I get footage in is I have all the footage in. I have my temp audio. Make sure that you have the audio here in the camera, comes here, and you see, well, you can see here, this was pretty bad. This was bad done. You can see that we did not see the clap. So that's one mistake that many people do on set. Make sure we can see the thing close, right? We cannot see the thing close. You can see it's right here. So it's out of frame. You cannot see the thing close. That is bad. But we do have the audio, right? And you can hear the clap. You can hear that. The best thing is to make sure you get both of them perfect, because if you have both of them perfect, you can't make a mistake. If you have both the clip on in the frame and the audio loud and clear, then syncing, you can't really fail with the syncing. The syncing is always going to be there. But if the audio is not there, then at least you have the visuals to rely on. But if the visuals aren't there, you have the audio to rely on. So if you get both perfect, then if one fails somehow, you have the other one to rely on. If you don't have a slate board, most feature films do, but if you have like when they say something loud like that, oftentimes you can have the audio you get be linked to the footage. I have to find that really hard, because I feel like if you just manually do it, you can get as precise. It takes longer, but when synchronizing fails you, then having that backup, knowing how to do it manually is better. So here is the color editing. You can see I have 2 layers. You take them off, this is what the footage you get. So this is the footage. the log. Other footage doesn't look like this. For example, if I go into this scene right here, you can see that without any of this, this is the regular footage you're getting from a drone. This is drone footage. That's drone footage. This is log footage. You can see non-brightful, brightful. That's the difference, and it's kind of hard to match it. But here is what off the camera what you have, and here's what you have here. So for this one, I did color correction to make it more log by putting down the saturation, putting down the exposure, putting down basically everything and making everything bland. Now the first layer that we do have is just like a LUT. It's a very simple LUT. And see that it does the most, right? And usually you have a LUT to your camera, but here we have red process because you're using red cameras. You kind of add that here, and you have the intensity 75. If I put it up, you can see, wow, it truly changes. And you put it down, it becomes more log. It's basically opacity, how much it's affecting it. We keep it at 75. And then you have the next layer, which is just a brightness changer. It's called an S curve. You just attach a curve here, and it's an S shape. So footage here, you color correct it. Each of these files have a bit of color correction, or like this one right here has a bit of color correction. You can see when I remove it, it was really overexposed. The exposure is only fixed when we got outside. So you can see kind of jarring, really white. It's kind of, you can't really see the green, put the green. So you just go into this take or this shot, and then you change it. You put down the exposure by 9, almost 1, and put everything down. Everything is in negatives. Now for a part that wasn't there was these parts right here, where I kind of had to figure out what kind of things are. Here, you can see they're here, right? You can see their faces, and I want to match cut, so you can see it's just a different angle. But normally, if you remove this, you can see how far away it is. So if you remove it, it's kind of jarring. You're close up, and then you change to a far away shot. And in all this entire scene where they're really close and keeps changing them, it doesn't work as well. Like this works well because it's match cut, kind of. Your subject's right here, right? Then in the next cut, your subject is here. So the eye moves from here to here. That's basically the change that's happening, right? From here to here. That's not too big. But in this scenario right here, so it changes the size, and there's also a different place. And from here to here is more jarring. And then, since there's already something else here, the main character, you're going to look at the main character instead of their relationship. So when I turn this back on, you can see that now the cut is way less jarring. So you can see that there's a very jarring cut here. And for that, here, I kept the jarring cut because they're kind of disorienting. They're kind of hugging, and there's a lot of things happening. But then I came back here, and now there's more of an angle. You can see the difference here to here. There's an angle, because then there's an angle, and then she leaves, and then there's no angle. So you kind of want to work with that. And this, without the motion, it would be very different. The thing that hurts you is the difference in quality. See here, this is where they are. You can see everything crisp, nice and clear. But you can see like it's quite grainy, blurry. There's a lot of noise, but here's really crisp and really nice. The reason is because I'm zooming in. It's 4K footage, so you expect, okay, it's gonna be high quality either what. But the thing is that when you're doing ISO and exposure and all that, you're gonna have grain no matter what. And zooming into the grain is not gonna do much difference, right? That's still grainy, and now there's not grain. It's way crisper. So you can see I'm zoomed in around 56%, and you've lost around 56% of the footage, right? Of the actual data. So even though it's 4K and you have way more data, right? This would be a 2K image. It still looks jarring because the next shot is a full 4K. It's not changed at all. Or like when people say, oh, you can film in 4K and you can zoom into things, it doesn't change a lot. It just gets you more quality, but the quality still makes cuts jarring. So either you have to do this shot as well zoomed in, or you just kind of have to leave it be and learn to deal with it. So you can see I have scene 102, scene 103, and scene 105. So I have all the scenes. Scene 102, you have the ending of the scene, where they're finishing singing. Where I can put audio. it fades out, and it goes to this, right? This is the transition to the next scene, right? And this was filmed in the same day that the other one was filmed. You can see the main character looks at the phone, then the main character leaves, and you can see it's dark outside, right? It's dark, it's night. The problem with that is we didn't have enough time to get the rest of the scene. We had to film another day. So you come to here, comes outside, and it's day.
Jane?
So you have to do a lot of compensating. One thing that I did, you hear the noise of the door, but you don't see it. And then here is day. So that helps with the color correcting. But another problem that we had was we filmed so late for this other part where here it was dark. Again, you can see it's dark outside. Here it's day. So, and we spent like 2 hours filming. The time changes 2 hours, but the scene only goes for 12 minutes. And the sky doesn't change that much in 12 minutes. So what you have to do is you kind of have to darken things. You can see what I've done here. This is the original. It looks really, really just bright day. What I did is kind of mooding up. You can see still day, turned everything darker. And for this one, I did the opposite. You turn everything up and you change it so it's a bit different. This is probably the most awkward time. Like you can see the sky is pretty bright here. Cut. Now it's dark. Doesn't make sense. So you have to do a lot of that, fixing it up. Now I want to talk mostly about being there on set and what you should do for a feature film on set. What's the difference between a regular and a non-regular? One thing you have to remember is that everything's already planned out. It isn't like, oh, let's just get B-roll. Everything is very strict and there's times and it's a lower budget movie, so we don't have a lot of scenes, we don't have a lot of things. So you have to find the footage a lot of different places. You have to like scour for the right thing and the right moment. And it doesn't always work out. So you sometimes have to compromise, right? Like right here, they want both this shot, but the other shot here of this, and we don't have kind of a transition shot of him still sleeping, right? And they kind of have to fade in, right? That's another thing, right? It says cut, but it is the same scene, but there's no shot of them opening the windows. But the window's open. But since we don't have a shot of opening the window, just cutting it like a regular cut would be awkward. So you do a fade. The thing we make sure we do on set is we make sure that everything is lined up. We have everything in order, right? Filming things out of order is very unhelpful to editors because when you're here, scene 105, and you have all of this footage, you can see that it goes in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this comes before this, it's bad, and this in order. I'm going to use this footage here. I'm going to open this one first, and this one, and this one. And if this one's the first footage I need, and this was the second scene I need, this is the third scene I need, then I can just go boom, boom, boom. But the most important thing to remember is that it's all about experience and all about learning and communicating with your team. This is one of my first times editing a feature film, and communicating with people who have done this before and have more experience is good. And also keeping to your strengths and learning new things and searching things up and asking questions is always important. Hopefully you enjoyed, and these are just some of my tips and tricks of how I've learned so far and how I've been going through editing my film. As the last thing, here is the trailer for second week.
What would you do if you were given 1 day, 1 week, or 1 month to find yourself, to find who you truly are?
Trouve l'amour dans la confusion.
What? Claire said, find love with it.
Would you confess your love and passion for someone?
Well, I love you.
I love you too.
Would you travel?
Head to Pacific Station and go. Hop on a train and take us without cause, concern, or even consequence. Claire. As far as our ambition takes us.
Scout. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lao Tzu. Board the train. No time to waste. Come and find yourself. Scout thought of all the possible people that would send them this and of all the possible scenarios that should take place next.
What'd you say, Claire? Looks like your journey isn't over yet. Or is it?
We'll be good for it, is it? Then, could you smell it?
Which one of you knows Jane? Jane again, huh, Mockingbird? You're developing quite the obsession.
So thank you for watching and consider subscribing.